I could interrupt me whenever you want, and I'll try to respond to whatever you want. It's always a challenge to do a talk with people you don't know. I don't really know you guys, so it's just me talking to myself in a sense until you start to participate with me. Uh, and then we find, then we can get something of a dialogue going, and then it might make sense to all of us. Right now, this is like a shot in the dark. Uh, uh, I think I had gotten the idea, but maybe I misunderstood from Roshi that I should say a little bit about lineage or something like that. Uh, so I've been thinking about that. And I don't have a talk about lineage, but I have a couple of thoughts about lineage, and I'll put them out there, and then you can kick them around. Then we'll see where we go. Uh, so let's say first that probably lineage is, at least for me, one of the two ingredients with Zazen that makes Zen Zen. Without lineage, there's no Zen. So what is the question which lineage answers? Why is it important? And like on a very practical way for me, it answered the question, how do you find an authentic teacher? Uh, how do you find an authentic teacher? When I was looking around, there was a lot of new age stuff floating. Uh, and how do you know what's hokey and what's not hokey? So lineage was the answer. Lineage was at least part of the answer. That's one thought. I'm going to do a couple of lineage thoughts. We'll see if anything clicks. Uh, Roshi Bernie's signature liturgy is Gate of Sweet Nectar. And in Yonkers, we used to chant it every week. Uh, and there's a line in it, I am the Buddhas and they are me. It seemed to me for years when we were chanting that line, and I think we were always standing when we were chanting it, I would think to myself as I was chanting it, I am the Buddhas and they are me. And the room was, like a room like your room, and it was a lot of people in there and everybody's chanting this. And I would say to myself, does anyone here really believe what they're saying? I am the Buddhas and they are me. Because I knew I was just chanting liturgy. Uh, and then one day it was true. I was chanting, I am the Buddhas and they are me. And I was the Buddhas and they were me. That has something to do with lineage. Let me shift over to the other side of this for a minute. Well, no, I got to make a transition. People say to me, what makes you a teacher? And there's really only one answer. Bernie said I was a teacher. That's what makes me a teacher. I can't tell by looking in the mirror or looking at myself on the video screen that I am a teacher.
So
Can you
sorry.
can you hear me?
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Sometimes this happens. I don't know why. I'm a teacher because Bernie said I'm a teacher. I can't tell by looking. I can't tell by looking in the mirror. Uh, so what do I do as a teacher? It is harder for us in my householder teacher Zen practice, householder Zen student world. We don't all live together. In the old days when teachers and students lived together in China, it was simple. You just were you, and the students, everybody saw you being you, and there was no backstage. There was none of this thing like a robing room, and then you come out on the stage, like you're an actor. And so we end up in this situations that one of the major ways in which students get to see us as teachers is giving talks. And when I first started out, I thought the point was for me to show students how much I knew about Buddhism or Zen. And to try to do a very erudite sermon on some ancient text. I wasn't very good at that anyway. So Teisho is me showing you who I am and why should you care? Who I am. The only reason I can think of, for you to care, is that Bernie said, I'm a teacher. So I'm manifesting this thing, which Bernie got from Mayazumi and and then what we got, is recognition. I mean, Bernie taught me a lot, but he didn't give me anything. I wanted him to, because I thought he had what I didn't have. Uh, I enjoy some of the Harry Potter Dharma. Uh, uh, so right up there with Bodhidharma's Don't Know is Harry Potter's Just Harry. And I've you know, another thought. This is going to lead to a related something. I wasn't a very good koan student. Bad, I would say. And I've had this experience repeatedly working on koans with students of how in the world did I pass this koan? I don't have a student comes in and presents the koan they're working on, and they say they're stumped or something like that. And I think I don't have the foggiest idea what this koan is about. How in the world did I pass this koan? Oh, it's a long time ago and that kind of thing. And maybe I just don't remember what I did or said or what. But koan's presented, and I feel like I can't answer that in a koan. I don't know. If I went in to do that, I would do. I did my koan study with Bob Kennedy. Bernie was. This was during the years when Bernie was in California, and I was in New York, and it quickly became clear to him that I should be doing this face to face with somebody, and sent me to Bob. So Bob and I, when Bob and I get together now, once in a while, a couple of times I've asked him, because this thing keeps coming up. If I don't know how I pass these koans, I mean the Mumonkan koans are okay, but the Book of Serenity, what was I doing? I don't know. And recently, Bob said to me, when I asked him, how did I pass this koan? He said, I didn't pass the koan, I passed the student. Which I thought was really, whoo. One more shift. We okay on time? Am I talking too much? This transmission, this lineage, is irrevocable. In the middle of the ceremony, when Bernie said to me, I will support you in whatever you do, I was completely blown away. Our relationship until then was that I would support him in whatever he did. That was my job as a Zen student, I felt, wherever you go, whatever you do. He had no leash on his students. And he pushed everybody out. I think Mayazumi did the same thing. and yet there's an attachment. When I was preparing for Tokido, I said to Bernie, I know I have to shave my head, but do I have to shave my beard? And without a moment's hesitation, wasn't anything for him to think about. He said, as long as Mayazumi is alive. And there was like deja vu there for me. I was standing, it must have been 11 years old, 10 years old, something like that. And I'm standing in my friend Alan's kitchen, and Passover is coming up. And Alan asks his mother, do we have to use different dishes for Passover? Something like that. And his mother, no hesitation, no thought, says, as long as grandma is alive. As long as Mayazumi is alive. It's given, there's no leash. You're recognized as a successor. Go do your thing. No penny tax. Do you remember penny tax? Anybody remember penny tax from tag? I don't know, it's like no tagging back, you know. Nobody played tag when they were in the schoolyard. Do a little bit of gossip, okay? Can I gossip with you? Okay. All of Miyazumi's successors went off and did their own thing. Daido Lori created his own version of monasticism. Bernie would joke about it a little bit. Daido thought it was, his version of kind of a Zen, a Chinese or Japanese Zen monastic practice. Bernie always said he thought it reflected more Daido's Catholic childhood than it did his Zen training. Had more Catholic monasticism flavor than it had Zen. But that he made a big distinction between monastics and lay people. That's not the kind of stuff that I resonated with. The different colored robes for the lay people and monastics. Monastics had black robes, lay people had white robes. Only monastics could become teachers, but monastics couldn't marry. But then Daido invented this compromise with American culture. So without getting married, you could be in a committed relationship. Daido was in such a relationship. It can be romantic and sexual and all this kind of stuff. It just wasn't marriage. And I think in Daido's mind, that means it wouldn't compete with your monastic commitment. He was in this relationship with one of his senior students who eventually got transmission from him. And then sometime later, she decided that she wasn't committed to this relationship anymore. And this upset Dido. I mean, you can understand that because he's still a human being, even though he's a Roshi. And I guess he let it be known that he was planning to take back Miotai's transmission. You know, take away her authorization to teach and to transmit the Dharma stuff. Bernie said, I don't know whether he actually did this or not, that he was going to call Dido and tell him he can't do this. But I don't know whether he did it or not. I don't know if it stopped Dido or not. I mean, it didn't stop Miotai. She went on and kept on teaching. I think she's a good teacher. I liked her when I knew her years ago. And then there's another version of this thing which goes, keeps coming rattling around in my head and is associated with what happens to the teacher-student relationship when the teacher does something scandalous. In the first Zen scandal that I was aware of, coming a little late on the scene, I guess, it involved Richard Baker, who was Suzuki Roshi's first successor. He got in trouble with he was then the abbot of San Francisco Zen Center, got in trouble with the Sangha. And there was a split and he ended up leaving and stuff. But in the midst of that, somebody asked Isan Dorsey what he thought of the whole situation. It's in the biography of Dorsey. It's a cool line. Isan says, when they ask him, what do you think about this whole scandal and blah, 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 And Dorsey says, Baker Roshi is my teacher. And then I find myself, a lot of us are in our lineage are part of the White Plum Sangha. That's like or it's like an organization of teachers in Miyazumi's family. And it seems like every, maybe once a month or something like that, somebody gets transmission in our lineage, in our big lineage, and applies for membership. And this email goes out, like everybody is invited to, share any negative stuff they know about the new candidate, like maybe they shouldn't be allowed into the White Plum. And that always feels discordant to me. And a few years ago, White Plum created like a code of ethics and a mechanism for expelling members, which always makes me paranoid because whenever anybody creates a mechanism for expelling telling people, I figure they're coming after me. Feels like not Lineage. Feels like a professional association or a club or something like that when it's when people are acting that way. Anyway. That's enough for me to talk for now. Love to hear from you.